All right, ladies and gents, before we get to Tim Tucker here on Golf Subpar, I got to tell you about the best golf speaker in the business, and that is Rockform. You've heard us talking about this thing before on the show, and for good reason. It is the best speaker in the game. It's got these magnets that just won't quit. These things will not let go of anything. You could drive your car off a cliff, and these things aren't falling off. You got amazing sound. If you want to get two of these bad boys, you can sync them up together and have an absolute rock concert out there if you want. Best of all, waterproof, drink proof, transfusion proof. You spill anything on this, it keeps ticking. And last but not least, the battery on this bad boy is not to be joked about. I mean, I played a golf tournament a while back. I've charged it up fully before the tournament. I didn't charge it for the next 3 days, and I used it the entire time I was out there. Turned it on the last day, and the thing was still thumping. This is the only way to get around the golf course. You need to get yourself a Rockform. If you want one right now, go to rockform.com. Enter code SUBPAR for 25% off. They make great gifts as well. Go to rockform.com. Enter code SUBPAR for 25% off. Go get yourself one of those right now. And now, the man of the hour, Tim Tucker. All right, we are very excited to bring on longtime caddy for Bryson DeChambeau. They racked up 8 wins together, including the 2020 U.S. Open. Now he's diving into the business world with his new luxury shuttle service at Bandon Dunes called Loop. Tim Tucker, how we doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thanks
Tim,
for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is awesome. Obviously, you've been kind of the talk of the golfing world the last few weeks with everything that has gone on. I mean, obviously, you want to clear up any of the rumors, what you've heard about what happened with you and Bryson, or what may have not happened. The floor is yours.
Yeah, it's crazy because I have zero social media. I never do any interviews unless Bryson's agent says, "Hey Tim, will you talk to these guys about what happened?" Whatever, and that's it. But I haven't watched TV, to be honest with you, in 6 months. I love NFL football, so I watch that. I can't wait for that season to come up. But I just don't watch TV. So, man, my phone blew up, of course. But I'd say about the whole situation was, I made a big mistake in my timing with it. I shouldn't have done it. That it shouldn't have happened that way. We should have finished out the week, and I didn't mean to put that pressure on him. And I'm sure he had a lot on his mind that to play in the Rocket Mortgage, and I regret how that all went down.
What made you come to this decision? Because it sounds like to me it was obviously your decision, not his.
No, I wouldn't say that. It was a combination, man. It's the thing I'll say about this whole deal is that, man, I've been very fortunate to be able to caddy for this guy. He is one of the hardest working guy I've ever seen. Sacrifices everything for this game, and as everybody can tell from his body transformation in such a short time, it just shows you his work ethic is second to none. And the other thing that people don't realize is that Bryson's very demanding, and I think that that's a great attribute from an employer because it makes you get better. If you're not getting better and learning and pushing everything you're doing, then you become complacent and you start making mistakes, and you're not continue to grow, and so he makes you do that, and it's unbelievable. He demands it from everybody, from his agent, from his business manager, from social media people, from everybody. And so those things and the lessons and the things I've learned with him are phenomenal. So I mean, Bryson is a friend of mine. I've known him since he was 15. We've played golf together. I've watched him play junior tournaments. I followed his whole golf career. I actually was caddying for Tyler Aldridge at the time, and Tyler and I we were struggling, and so I just we decided to move on, and then Bryson had let his caddy go, or I don't even know the whole story there, but he called me, and we made a great run. It was awesome. So.
Yeah, can you kind of, for everybody that doesn't know, you caddied at Bandon Dunes for a long time, and then you got on the, started picking up bags in the pro ranks. You were caddying for Tyler Aldridge, so you had that relationship with Bryson before. But when was the first all right, I'm going to go for work for you, Bryson?
So yeah, like I said, when I met Bryson when he was 15, he was out at Dragonfly in Fresno, And I was teaching aim point at the time. And so, you know, he was in a class and he came to every one. And by the end of it, man, he was helping me teach it, you know, to everybody, because he wrapped his head around it so fast. And so, you know, I was there for 3 days, and we'd go to dinner every night and with the group. And, you know, he's sitting there talking. We were at the end, you know, talking. He's like, you know, I'm asking, hey, Bryson, you know, what do you do? You know, he's like, well, I don't watch TV, but, you know, I love science. I love physics. You know, and he was telling me about, like, he believes in time travel and that, you know, it's possible, but we'll never figure it out. And he's probably right. Because I will tell you, he's rarely wrong about the things that he's pushing. You know, there's something about, and Colt knows this, you guys, it's crazy. These elite athletes, they're different, and they're different and that's why they're who they are, right? Not everybody can be, you know, the best golfer in the world. So, you know, the things that he does is phenomenal. But yeah, I met him when he was 15. I was caddying at Bandon and also teaching green reading. And a friend of mine introduced me to Tyler Aldridge and went out and worked for him for about 4 months. And Tyler is a friend of mine. He's a great dude. He unfortunately left the game, but and then I was actually in Dallas. We were at Byron Nelson when this went down, and my father had, you know, from Amarillo, had driven down to watch me caddy and watch the tournament. And so after that, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go back to Bandon. I'm going to play golf with my dad for a week and go back to Bandon. And about halfway to Amarillo, I got a call from Mike Shy and said, hey, would you consider caddying for Bryson? We're trying to, you know, work this out. And so by the time I got to Amarillo, they called me and said, yeah, let's do it. Come back to Colonial. So I turned around and flew back.
So there was no hesitation at all. Once that job was offered, you're like, I got to go with this kid.
Well, I mean, yeah. You know, what was really bad about it, the worst part was, you know, I saw Tyler that next day, and the way it looked was that I quit him to go work for Bryson. That was not the case, you know. When Bryson came out on tour, I saw him again for the first time at Hilton Head. He gave me a big hug, you know, and, you know, I'm busy working. He's busy working. I didn't want to take, you know, every time, once a week, I'd say hi to him, talk to him for 20, 30 seconds and say, you good, bud? Everything good? Yeah. You know, just say hi. And that was it. Went on with my work and let him go with his. So we really didn't communicate that much, you know, at all prior to him hiring me. It just kind of, I think I was available. He knew me. He knew I knew the green reading system he was using. And it was, you know, hey, let's try it.
And Tim, when you first started with him, like, you just pick up the bag, it's your first week, first month, whatever. Was the time commitment and the responsibilities you had as a caddy at that time the same as it was during your last event at the Rocket Mortgage, or did that, like, scale out, the, you know, the nighttime rain sessions and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, no, and well, he always practiced a lot. And if you ask Bryson, I was really surprised at this. He'd said to me one day, he's like, you know, I've never had the talent, so I have to work really hard to be a good golfer. That's his perception, right? And from my side, I'm like, dude, you're the best golfer I've ever seen in my life. What are you talking about? You probably never practice and play great golf. But to him, he feels that way. So that's his reality. And that's why he works so hard, you know, and that's why he works into the night. He doesn't want to leave the golf course with a bad feeling for tomorrow. He wants to at least have something going into the next round that's a positive instead of a negative. And he, you know, he works on his golf swing obviously every single day.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I remember when y'all went at Wingfoot Saturday night, you're hitting balls in the dark. And I remember he hit one last driver, and then he gave you and Chris Como like a fist pump and was like, all right, I got it. Let's go get this thing tomorrow. But obviously he's in the media a lot. You know, he does things different than anybody else does it. What would you say is the biggest misconception about Bryson?
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you. He has this passion for golf that I've never seen from anybody. And you know, people would say it's a fault. I don't think it is. It's his pursuit of perfection, you know, to be almost, you know, to be perfect and robotic. That's what drives him. And he's always, you know, we always laugh, I'm going to figure this out. You know, let's figure it out, right? Every day. And, you know, his passion comes through sometimes in a negative way, but it's not that, you know. He's a great guy, man. He gets, you know, people think sometimes think he's, you know, angry or whatnot. He's just not. He's as passionate as can be. And then, you know, once it's all done, and we've always said, hey, whatever happens on the golf course is on the golf course. It's a battlefield out there. We're trying to do our best, right? Don't take anything personal. Colt, you know, you've played out there. You know how you can get with a caddy sometimes. You know, you can get frustrated and, you know, misdirect your anger at someone, and vice versa with the caddy, right? And so it's just that's it. His passion doesn't come through as well as people would like to see it, you know. That's it. That's the biggest one. That's why he's so misunderstood. He is a really great young man, you know. He does a lot of people don't see the work he does with kids. He grew up in an environment where, you know, he hit balls in this tent with all these, you know, high school, junior high, elementary kids. And even when we go back to Fresno, when he's a, you know, 5-time tour winner, he goes back and takes, you know, takes turns on the mats hitting balls or helping these kids out. And, you know, the funny thing is they don't think he's famous. They just think he's Bryson because that's the way he is, you know? So if anybody ever paid attention to what he does out there, man, he takes the time with these young kids. He really does, you know? Cole, you know, you can't sign all these autographs. He signs a lot. He does his part.
Have you spoken to him since Rocket Mortgage?
Yes. Yeah.
Recently?
Right before the British Open.
Okay. So you guys' relationship, everything's good. You guys are both buddies. There's no hard feelings, no ill will, none of that.
Dude, I mean, think about, you know, I was a caddy at Bandon Dunes, right? And I had a great lifestyle. I loved it. You know, I was a PGA member. I was a club pro for, you know, a long time. Got into caddying because I was looking to get out of the golf business. And ended up loving that lifestyle out there. That for the people that have been to Bandon, they know it's a magical place, and you kind of get wrapped up in it, and it's awesome. But you know, I wasn't able. You know, one of the things I said, the money that I've made, you know, being a part of Bryson's success has helped me put my kids through college. You know, no student debt. I've been able to buy them a car, get them on a good start, right? You know, and that's really important, you know, to me as a parent, right? No, you know, no one in my family had ever graduated, you know, gone to college, let alone graduated. My kids have, and or they're in that process, but, you know, I'm happy to be able to do that. You know, I've been around the world. I've made a lot of great contacts, and it's given me the opportunity to open this business. So, man, there's no animosity between Bryson and I at all, man. I owe him a lot, and I'm very thankful that, you know, I got to be around and watch that greatness, you know?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and that's so cool to hear. I mean, he's obviously, he goes about the game in a much different way than anybody else out on the PGA Tour. And when you and I have spoken in the past, you've told me, you're like, I don't understand why other players and caddies don't do some of the things we do. What are some of those things you were referring to?
I mean, I think obviously, you know, the green reading is very important, and especially when the greens books go away. You know, Bryson is a phenomenal green reader. He doesn't make the long putts like Jordan does. If he did, Bryson wouldn't lose a tournament. You know, he is a great, I don't think, probably one of the best putters from 10 feet and in. His speed control is amazing. He is a great putter. You know, people overlook that because it was distance, but he is an amazing putter, for one of the best on tour.
Best speed control, in my opinion, out there.
Phenomenal.
Unbelievable back putter. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the green reading is, you know, that in-depth, you know, going that extra mile is important. It's going to be really important with the greens books. People think, oh man, you know, he's going to struggle without these green books. No, he's not. He's going to excel, you know, because he'll do the work. They'll put the work in to find out what the slopes are, and they will not be behind on that. The other thing I think is super important is the air density. A lot of people don't understand that. Don't understand spin rates when the ball's wet. Doesn't understand how the spin rate changes on different turf, whether it's dry or not. All these factors, and knowing, you know, that to me is one of the most important things we've done. Green density, understanding that, hey, I'm hitting a 7-iron with, 6,200 spin, landing into a 2% slope. It's going to run out 4 yards on a 6mm green density. That stuff is important and it's predictable. So these are the things that we do, and that's another cool thing about Bryce is, if I say something, hey man, let's try this. They'll say, okay, let's check it out. No matter how crazy it is. And if it works, we add it in. If it doesn't, all right, next thing.
I feel like I've been around the game a long time and I have a pretty decent golf IQ. I've never heard what you just said in my life. Like I've never even thought about that. But that just shows you how detailed and, how focused and prepared this guy is.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, no stone left unturned.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, perfect.
He'll say, Chris Como works with Bryson, and Chris is an amazing guy. And Bryson's like, I want to read you my golf swing. He's like, dude, you just won the U.S. Open. Yeah, but I didn't play good. I got lucky. That's what he thinks. He's a nut. He's a nut in that way. And, I don't mean that in a bad way. That's just, again, part of his perfection and desire. How many times Tiger Woods changed his golf swing? People thought he was crazy.
But he was. That was dumb.
They're built different. They're built different. Well, I'm glad you brought up all that stuff, all that information, because I want to ask you this, because I think a lot of people would be interested to hear the answer. You and Bryson are out on the golf course. He drives his ball in the fairway. You walk up with the bag. Walk us through all the information that you needed to give him before you guys pulled the trigger.
I mean, just the first, obviously the normal, front, where the pin is. We do air density. So every Monday we get his numbers. Okay. So there are no stock numbers for him. If he said, how far do I hit my 7-iron? He'd go, what's the air density? Wow. He doesn't know. I don't know. So we find that out on Monday. Right. So we always use 2 launch monitors to make sure that we have the right swing speed, his stock swing speeds, and then we find out how far it is based on air density. So air density, a lot of people don't know this is, like here in Amarillo, Texas, I'm at 3,500 feet, and today it was 90 degrees. Air density here was 6,800 feet. So if I were making adjustments off 3,500, right, I would be 7% off on my calculation. So just based on that, that's just one aspect. So we make that adjustment when we get to the ball. We know so I'll say something like it's 175. With air density, it's 185. What this shot is. Then it's like, what slope are we going to land into? 2% slope. Okay. Green density's 5.8 millimeters. Okay. Our spin rate with this club is X, and we need to land it. It's going to release 3 yards.
God, that's a lot of shit. How long does it take you to learn all that and have it ready by the time you walk up to the bag and rattle all that off? All right, here's the front, here's the pin, back edge, air density, pitch on the green, all that. Like, how long until you just have that down to where it's just habit?
I mean, I think we started doing this in Travelers. We started doing the air density. We've always known we've always been working on the green reading part, but the air density came in at Travelers probably 4, maybe 5 years ago. We were playing in Naples, and we saw a green superintendent dropping a metal ball and measuring the dent in the green. And we go, what's that? And they said, we're measuring green density. So we're like, okay, cool. Let's do that and see if it correlates. And so one of our weeks off, we flew to Fresno and went all around the golf course. I'd stand on the green. We'd drop a ball. He'd hit a shot in, and we'd measure the run out. So with that, for a year, I just kept keeping data and putting it in the spreadsheet, and Excel spreadsheet. And then at the end of the year, I just push sort, So I'd say, hey, he had a 178-yard shot, landing into a 2% slope, wind at a 45-degree angle down at 10 miles an hour, and it rolled out X. And I just kept putting those in after every round, right? And for a year, we did that, and then we just pushed sort and got a baseline. So our baseline is based on a 2% slope, no wind.
Yeah, damn. I didn't do that for Wyndham, Colt. We had a lot less than
When you caddied for Wyndham, you didn't do that?
I said, it looks like a 9-iron, dog. Here you go.
I've never heard this stuff. That is fascinating. Like,
yeah,
I've been out there with your group, obviously, and I hear everything you're saying, but I don't know what it means. I would go out on a limb and say y'all are the only team that has ever done green density.
Yes.
That is
with
that is unbelievable.
Because
You
of
know,
all
because
that.
I mean, I see this. This is a great example. We were playing in Napa one year, and the 10th hole, the front of the green was a 4.5 millimeter green density, or 0.45. We call it 450. Well, the middle right pin position was 800, super soft. So if you had a 4-iron into that green, it would hit its pitch mark and stay. So the first round we're playing, everybody hits it in there about 12 feet, whatever. You know, we throw it right at it, try and land on the pin because we know it's super soft. The next day, I'm like, Bryson, the green density is 450 here. We just need to land it on the front. And we did. Well, everybody else in the group threw it at the pin again because yesterday I didn't roll out any. They had 40, 45 footers. Bryson had, 15 footer.
Wow.
So, I mean, in those situations, it's super important to know what that landing area is, in that quadrant of the green.
How do you get that?
Yeah.
So on Mondays, I go out and I drop the ball in all the quadrants where I think where the pinnable locations are. And then I go to the putting green and I drop that ball in 2 locations on the practice putting green. Okay. And then I monitor that through the week. Well, Thursday, obviously I can't drop anything on the greens, but I can on the practice putting green. So I drop it on those same 2 spots that I've marked, and then I make the correction or the change. So if it rained overnight and it was super soft, let's say it was a 5.8 or 580 today, it might be 680. So that's considerable change in the green. So I'm assuming that the rest of the greens are that way, and that correlation works really well.
Do you ever change like in the middle of a round? Like what, if you tee off at noon, the greens are going to probably look a little bit different at 4:00 when you're finishing up. So you're like, okay, they used to be at this density, but now it's later in the day. The wind's been hitting them and they're probably at this.
I mean, we don't really, in that 4-hour period, don't really change it, but, we trust what that is prior to teeing off. And I always check those. Our routine is he gets on the putting green an hour and a half before his tee time, and I just drop it right before then.
Wow,
that's a lot. That's real.
How much shit do you have in that golf bag? I mean, there's got to be more gadgets and stuff in there. That's incredible.
Sometimes there's 4 protein shakes in there.
Yeah. So when you mentioned that, so when he comes to the team and he's like, guys, I'm going to change my body. I'm going to put all this weight on and hit it as far as I can, get stronger. What were your first thoughts?
Screw up your wonderful golf swing, But the one thing he always said, because I'd bring this up and he'd say, Tim, I will never sacrifice accuracy for distance. And so, he's in this end range of motion. I don't know if you've talked to him about this, but I mean, his golf swing is so stable that his motion really didn't change through that growth process, because, the stuff he learned with Chris and all this about the body in range of motion with Greg Roscoff, all this stuff, they were able to maintain his golf swing, but just add the strength, which is remarkable. Now, people would say, oh, he's not as accurate as he used to be. Well, he has to be more accurate to be as accurate as he used to be at 300 carry. Now he's at 335 or 340 carry.
Wow.
Tim, Colt was talking about you guys, you said one thing you like about Bryson is if you wanted to try something, you wanted to experiment, he was always up for it. He was always willing to see if it would, help him play better golf. Is there anything that stands out to you, like an experiment you guys ran that didn't work out and it was too weird or too anything that you just threw it away?
I mean, yeah, all the time, constantly trying stuff out. But before Augusta one year, we were at Sage Valley, and, we were trying to reduce spin with his clubs. And so we're like, what is the deal? What are we missing here? So we, hey, let's put some golf balls in the hot tub and then let's put some in the freezer. And then we bought, this, like you shoot your steak and it tells you what the internal temperature is of it or whatever.
Yeah.
We did that with these golf balls and we hit them and, we're like, okay, well, that wasn't a big difference. Not enough to affect spin rate. So, it didn't work. But, we tried it. Or, Tour Championship, you saw people, spritzing the golf ball with water so we can understand what the spin rate is. And it's like
just normal
sometimes
shit, yeah.
I say, dude, we have a tournament to play. And he's like, no, I want to figure this out. Doesn't matter what tournament it is. He will experiment anytime with anything.
Respect. I've never seen a man maybe other than Tiger, that eats, sleeps, breathes golf. I mean, it just seems like that's all it is. Does he, away from the golf course, does he do anything besides think about golf?
He is he thinks about golf all the time, but he'll take a little time. Like he loves Fortnite. He enjoys doing that. He likes to barbecue. He's really good at cooking chicken and steak. So we've done a lot of that. But I mean, now his new passion obviously is working out. So like, I think what happened during COVID is he goes, man, wait a second. I have an amazing house with this beautiful gym, and I have a life besides golf, and he really, again, part of addictive personality, got in the gym, and he's like, okay, let me put these two passions together, and he did, and it paid off.
You mentioned
Sorry, go ahead.
I just ask, stay on that for 1 second, because back at Charlotte at Wells Fargo, he famously left because he thought he missed the cut and then flew back. At any point before that flight, were you like, hey, Bryson, maybe we just hang around a little bit and just make sure we don't make this cut?
Well, I mean, he was gone, and I was talking to his agent. He's like, Tim, he has left. It's okay. All right. Well, I'm leaving, but I flew to Houston knowing I could get a flight in 2 hours if when I landed, we'd made the cut. So I flew to Houston, had dinner, flew home or flew back. So I was back in bed by, 11:30 at night. So.
Bold strategy there. He could have just maybe hung around for a couple of hours and had a few beers maybe, but I don't know, fly home, fly back. Tim, does Bryson sleep? His brain feels like the kind of brain that doesn't turn off. Like, is he an insomniac, stay up till all hours of the night? I feel like he can't sleep.
He does. He does brain training. He does, he has people monitor his brain when he's sleeping, trying to help him get to sleep, trying to turn it off a little bit. Or, he has done that. He doesn't do it every night, but so he's looked at that stuff. But yeah, he understands the importance of the rest. So he can sleep, 10 hours, in his room at his house. It's all blacked out. And, when I go over there, he'll go to bed at, 11 o'clock, and he won't come out of his room till 9 or 10 o'clock.
Can you get me
some good rest?
I like
Can you
that.
get those 3 people's phone number, please? Because I sleep terrible. I need to turn this brain off.
Too much, too high a frequency. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say is Bryson's biggest pet peeve when it comes to a caddy? Like, what is the one thing, if you did, it would drive him nuts?
Yeah, that'd be impossible to say one.
We got time, Tim. We got time, bro.
I mean, dude, again, we had this talk at Torrey Pines. We're on the 10, 11, 12th hole, right? And I'm telling you, man, his brain works so much faster. Again, he's not a normal person. His brain works so much harder, right? And faster and ahead, right? And he's always like, there's a better way. But we were joking about, just little stuff, right? It's hard to explain, but, sometimes, depending on the situation, it aggravates him. I mean, is down to the way you handle the putter at times. Wow. He's very specific. And you know what? That's my job as a caddy to make my player comfortable, not have to worry about the little stuff. No matter how little it is, right? So again,
you got a lot of little stuff. Yeah.
I want him to perform at his highest. I don't want him being upset at something that he's told me to do that I didn't adapt to and learn. So look, every player needs different things, and Bryson it's the same with him. Just he may have a few more, things here and there, but in other areas, he's not that way. He trusts me 100%, with my work on the golf course and lines, and, where you think he might micromanage that, he micromanages the little tiny stuff that I think's insignificant, but to him, it could set him off or bother him. You know what I mean? Just little nagging stuff, nothing big. But we work through it, and we talk about it.
Well, Tim, I
So,
think so much of what separates caddies from great caddies is knowing when and how to talk to their players. So if you're out on the course with Bryson, let's say he wasn't having his best day, he was struggling a little bit. What way did you handle him as a caddy? Are you the rah pump up speech guy? Did he react to that, or you just kind of leave him alone and let him do his own thing?
the thing I feel like with Bryson is he always needs to be thinking and talking, where other players don't want that. The more data, the better. If he ever gets quiet, that's a problem. But every time he hits a shot, whether it's a practice round, if you notice, I stand right on top of him on the range because I'm reading the numbers on, the flight scope or the GC quad. Every shot is an opportunity to gather data. And when we're on the golf course, he hits a bad shot. Okay. The first thing is what happened. So that's what I ask him. What happened there? And sometimes if he's upset, he's like, I don't know. And I go, yeah, you do. What happened? And then he goes, well, I lost, not enough ulnar deviation and I lost my internal rotation with the right wrist, whatever. Right. So then he, okay, I got to do that. Right. So it's just always, or, what did we miss there? We hit it over the green. What did we miss? And we go through what happened. Did we miss the wind? Did we, what did we miss there? Was it air density? Did we have a wrong number? Did I hit it hard? Did I not hit it hard enough? What was it? So every single shot is evaluated and talked about on our walk up, and he likes me to be right there with him.
No, it's fascinating. And I think, you're one of the best caddies in the world, but it takes a special person to caddy for Bryson. Like, I don't think anybody can just do it because of what he requires. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. But, again, if like Brian Ziegler's caddying for him now. Brian's a great guy, knows him really well, knows his golf game, has worked with, Chris Como for a long time, worked at Dallas National. Brian would come out to tournaments. He'd walk with me. We'd talk about all the things that we're doing, and he's learning these as we're going, and because, if something happened, I got hurt. I have a really bad knee, but it's fine. But, if something happened, I couldn't do it. Someone has to be able to step in, every tournament is super important. So, the show's got to keep running. But Bryson, look, here's the thing. Oh, how's Bryson going to play golf without Tim doing all this stuff? Dude, Bryson knows all the answers. I just walk him through the steps, right? Because he's got so much going on in his brain. I'm not telling him what to do. I'm asking him what he's doing, or we're just presenting the problem and solving the problem. That's all. He knows that if we're putting down, a 45-degree angle on a 3% slope from 40 feet, right, then we need to hit it 70%, which is 28 feet. He knows the math on that. But
that's so cool.
I asked him, what do you like the slope at? What angle are we to straight? How far is it? Okay. He'll ask me, what's the percent on a 3? And I say it's 40, but at a 45-degree angle, it's 70. 7 times 4, 28. Let's hit this 28 feet. Done. He knows that, but as we walk through it, it just gives him that much more level of confidence.
Are you surprised?
Simple.
At all? Yeah. Are you surprised at all? Like, more players don't have the approach he has?
Man, I don't know many players. I know them all, right? But I really don't know them in that way. So, because I'm so focused on Bryson, I don't know many caddies because we work, a lot. And then we get out of there, but, it's time to get some rest. But, I don't know. I see some players like Phil, to me, seems like he loves information.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a guy like Bubba. I don't think he wants any, and, everybody's different, but like to watch Bubba play golf, it's freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What he does, like he is the greatest artist of all time. Right. And then to watch Bryson, the scientist, no way is he using any, feel, or everything is mapped out and he's thinking about his golf swing while he's swinging, where a lot of people say that's bad for him. If he doesn't think about it, he's toast.
Tim, with all the information that you've run us through that you need to, convey to Bryson before he hits a shot, combined with the hours that you would spend on the golf course, the sessions after the rounds and things like that, do you think being on the bag for Bryson, is that the most demanding job as a caddy on the PGA Tour?
That's a tough, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what other caddies are doing, to be honest, but
Not that.
It's fun. It's really fun. And it's amazingly rewarding to be able to go, hey, every week Bryson's playing 11 stent greens, regardless of what they are, because we do the math to make that happen. We go to Kapalua where it's super grainy. The greens are slow. The wind's a major factor. We'll spend hours on the putting green trying to get our formulas right so that his speed's proper, and it's difficult sometimes. The biggest factor with putting and trying to make all the greens 11, even though they're not, is when it's windy. The wind, people don't realize how much the wind affects speed. It's insane. And that's like, again, I would tell, as caddying, being a caddy, the one thing you can never figure out is the wind. And we've tried a million different ways to try and be better with the wind. And it is so hard. That's the one thing people don't understand, how difficult it is. Week in, week out at different golf courses, the wind. If we can figure out the wind, man, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
you'd be God.
Yeah, this is the most fascinating stuff I've ever heard. Take us through an off week for Tim Tucker. Like, are you ever required to go spend an off week with him, or are you at home? What do you do when you have?
It depends on what sometimes I go to Dallas. He's like, hey, we got to figure something out. Let's go. Okay, I'm in. Right. But typically when I'm off, I'm trying to play golf, get my golf game. Well, I'm trying to get it in shape now because I have some time. But I'd go play a little bit of golf, just hang out. I love to ski. I grew up skiing. I love snow skiing. I love being in the totally opposite climate, 80 degrees. I want to be 32 and sunny, right, up in Vail or somewhere.
It's a good life. You ain't the only one. I know you're just getting out of the caddy game right now. Is there any situation where you could see yourself caddying on the PGA Tour again?
I really don't know. I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. I mean, people thought, this, maybe he's hurt or something. No, I mean, I've lost 40 pounds over the last year and a half, and inspired by Bryson to get better. Right. So, I mean, I'm in great shape. I'm working out more, now that I'm home. So, still trying to lose another 15 pounds and just, work on my body, work on my golf game. But, I'm trying to get this business running and I have a business partner helping me, Amos Baker. He's a caddy at Bandon, or was. And so, we're working to get that done. I just drove a bus 5 days from Erie, Pennsylvania to Bandon Dunes. So, it's 2,600 miles in a 36-foot bus I've never driven. So that was interesting, to say the least.
Well, tell us a little bit more about it. So it's called Loop, and it's just strictly at Bandon Dunes, correct? I've never been to Bandon Dunes, so I know it's hard to get to. But tell us a little more about
Bandon Dunes is like this magical place, and I don't know. I tell people that haven't been to Bandon. First off, when you go on a vacation, this anticipation of going, you build it up, or what you've seen or heard, you build it up in your mind, and then you get there and it's not quite, it's nice, but not what you thought. I always tell people Bandon will exceed your expectations when you get there. And like, I've taken breaks from caddying. I'd go somewhere else and caddy in the winter and then go back to Bandon, and I'd be like on the 16th tee at Bandon Dunes, just going, man, this is better than I remember. It's unbelievable. But, working out there, I worked out there for 12 years. The clientele is amazing. People, all walks of life going out there. But it's definitely like that bucket list trip. And I felt like, the trip, it's hard to get to. So if you're flying to Portland, you have a 4.5 hour drive. If you're flying to Eugene, you have a 3 hour drive. And if you private travel into Coos Bay, you have a 45-minute drive. And I was like, dude, wouldn't it be great if the trip started when you landed instead of 4.5 hours later? Yeah. And so I built this beautiful, this bus is 36 feet long. It has 8 chairs on board. It has a full bathroom, has a bar, the chairs are heated, cooled massage. I think they're 10-way power seats. I mean, they do everything. And so it's, has an amazing sound system, has 2 TVs. You can watch live sports while you're driving down the road. And it's just I say your trip starts when you land, because you get, you're with your 8 best or 7 other best friends, man, going to this mystical golf destination. And, it's like this cool journey. As everybody knows, when you go to Scotland, you're driving in these little shuttle buses flying all down these little roads, and it's bumpy and long hours, but people love it, because they're bonding with their buddies, right, for hours. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted it to be luxurious, and that's what we did. So I think everybody that sees it has told me it's second to none. It's unbelievable.
I was actually talking to a couple caddies up there today about you, and they said this bus is unbelievable. Like, it is the real deal Holyfield. So I know that thing is going to be sick. Tell us a little bit about your boy Amos, your business partner, because the word on the street is he's a legend up there at Bandon.
Yeah, he is. Bandon's a really interesting guy. I met him in 1998. I was a pro at a club down in Springfield, Oregon, and met him. He had just come back from Europe. He had played in Luxembourg for 2 years, European basketball. And anyway, went to Bandon I don't know if he went on a trip or what, but he ended up caddying there. And he showed up about the same time I did. And, he's super competitive like I am. And, I used to be a pretty good amateur golfer. And so I got we'd compete a lot and play golf, and just became friends over the years. So I've known him since 2003.
That's awesome.
Hey,
so how can people book Loop with you?
So our website's is about to go live. BandonLoopTransportation.com is our website. If you just type in Loop Transportation or Bandon, it's going to pop up. Also, we're Bandon is, put us on their website. I've had a relationship with everybody out at Bandon all these years and kept in touch with them. And so they've been great. They put me on their website. They're going to help me book, trips. And then obviously there's 330 caddies at Bandon, which, we know most of them. And, through their requests, they'll be talking to their guys and getting us out there. So I think it's going to be a home run for us. We're excited about it. Obviously a new venture, so a little nervous, but Bryson has told me to help support me in any way with this, that he'd invest in it if I'd asked. And so, which I think is amazing, right? So that should kind of tell you the relationship we have. He's willing to go in a business venture with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you go to Bandon, book that thing right there with Loop. Quick, what's the air density in Bandon right now? Go.
It's 100 feet, probably 62 degrees.
There you go. You don't miss. You don't miss.
All right, we got one last little part here. We do this emergency 9 with all of our guests. These are 9 fun ones. We like to have fun with the guests at the end of the show, and then we'll let you get out of here. But we ask this to everybody. First part of the emergency 9. If you could trade lives with anybody for a day, dead or alive, who would it be?
Bryson DeChambeau.
Incredible answer. Perfect.
Then you could complain about the way he hands the putter to you. That'd be perfect. Be perfect. All right, next one, Tim. More unforgettable experience, winning the U.S. Open or the first time you walked into the Bachelor Inn? Maybe you have to tell people what the Bachelor Inn is, perhaps.
Bachelor Inn is this amazing gentleman's club in Coos Bay. So I will tell you, I walked in with a group of guys, and the girl on stage is wearing Converse high tops and asked us if we wanted to see some milk.
Wow. All right.
Colt, when you go, bro, it's like a rite of passage. Like, you just have to go. It might not be the best place you ever been to, but you ain't never going to forget it. It's all time.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, next one. Most hours you and Bryson have ever spent at the golf course in one day?
Like 12, maybe
That's it.
12,
Well,
13.
What's the latest you've ever been on the range, you think?
3 times, 9:30. It was dark, been dark for an hour. But he has the flight scope there, so he's got the iPad in front of him, so we know where it's going. Even though people are like, "Why is he hitting balls in the dark?" We know where they're going.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
somebody filmed it and put it on Twitter, and it was just a black screen, and you just heard a thwack every like 8 seconds, and I was like, "What are you even videoing here?" All right, next thing. Name one thing you had to carry in the bag day in, day out for Bryson that easily could have been left behind. The Fit protein shake, maybe.
Well, I always carried 3 bars. He only ate 2. He definitely wanted his Orgain. He always drank those. And I'd always carry like 4 or 5 liquid IV, and he'd only have 1. But I will tell you a funny story if I can. We were in Kapalua, and this is my first time in Kapalua, and I didn't think, it's a beautiful sunny day in Hawaii. It's not going to rain. Well, as you guys know, the rain can pop up 2 seconds. So we're on the 14th hole, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th hole, short little drivable hole. And we lay up, he hits an iron off the tee, and it starts misting, pretty heavy mist. He's like, "Where's the umbrella?" And I'm like, "I didn't bring it." So he's upset about that, because again, it's not for him to stay dry. It's that he wants the umbrella over the ball, so it gets less rain on it, so our spin rate doesn't go up 3%. So anyway, he gets up and he's standing by the ball, and there's a sprinkler head by him, and I said, "Hey, what's that sprinkler head say?" And he said, "The caddy forgot my effing umbrella."
That is so good.
I don't see that in my book here, Bryson.
I love that. All right, next one. At the start of the show, you said you don't watch much TV, but you love NFL football. Who is Tim Tucker rooting for on Sundays?
Washington.
Who?
Formerly known as the Redskins, Washington Football Club.
God.
The football team. You're a big football team fan.
This relationship just went south.
30 years, man, die hard.
I love it. What do you think their name should be?
Redskins.
I knew you were going to say that. The Redskins, obviously.
Yeah, that seems to work. All right, here's a little caddy question here for you, Tim. You've been around most of these dudes, and I know some of them, and a lot of them can drink some booze. So which caddy on tour, if there was a competition, could drink the most beers in a 6-hour stretch?
Harry Higgs. Oh, sorry, caddy. I'm just kidding.
Beautiful.
Most beer. Well, I know the most vodka would be Fooch, but most beer, caddy. Well, me.
You?
Yeah.
I like how 6 hours. How many do you think you could get down in 6 hours over under?
I've drank 11 without pissing. I know that.
That's pretty damn good. That's probably
6, 4,
unhealthy.
Man, before, I don't know, in 6 hours, probably 13. Fair number.
Nice little buzz.
You'd only have to piss once.
What's that?
You don't have to piss once.
You only have to piss one time.
That's right.
Heard a story recently from Pat Perez, who said one day when Daly had his bus set up outside of Augusta when he signs autographs and sells stuff over at Hooters, the waitress brought him a beer and said, "Sir, this is your 72nd beer of the day."
Whoa.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I don't think I can buy that.
That's what Pat said. I'm just saying. I didn't say that, but if that's true, that's freaking incredible.
I think I've drank a case of beer playing golf, but that'd be about it.
72. Jesus, that's got to be alcohol poisoning or something.
All right, let's go to this one. Say your phone rang. There's a job offering to come caddy. Take Bryson out of the mix, obviously. What other player would you be willing to go caddy for, you think? Or is there someone you would want to?
I would have been caddy for like anybody for one day.
You would?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
There it is.
Like 3 events a year. Be perfect.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Is that job open?
Perfect. Love it.
Is that job open?
Joey's got that on lockdown.
All right, here we go.
Caddy for the greatest player to ever walk the planet.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy, I think. Just
Tiger is like this amazing guy too, on top of it. So,
all right,
I could only imagine it'd be fun.
We'll start that rumor circulating. Tim Tucker is going to caddy for Tiger Woods. We're going to get that in every headline. That's the only thing we're going to clip out of this whole interview. All right, next one from me. Pop quiz here, Timmy. I'm going to test your skills, see if you still got it, all right? I'm going to give you a situation. You have 5 seconds to answer with your response. You ready? Okay. You're in the fairway with Bryson. You have 175 yards to the front edge. The pin is 8 paces on. The temperature is 82 degrees with 81% humidity. Wind in your face, 8 miles per hour, and it's a full moon. What distance is it playing? Go.
I couldn't tell you because I have to know what the temperature and the air density was at noon on Monday.
Oh, shit. None of the above.
Otherwise, I don't have a baseline.
And after we had this conversation, I didn't give you green density either. So there's a lot of missing variables in this equation. All right, I'll allow it this once.
Perfect.
All
All right,
that
last
no
one.
contest.
You and Bryson, unbelievable run. Obviously, a bunch of wins. U.S. Open champ. First shot that comes to your mind when you think, if I ask you, what's the best shot you ever saw Bryson DeChambeau hit?
Freewood John Deere Classic for his first win.
Ooh, that was quick.
Freewood John Deere Classic. Take us through it. What hole?
17th hole. He hit it in the right rough. It was trampled down, but there was this berm because it kind of the fairway fell off down into the rough. And he was 273 yards, fairway wood, just his 3-wood, and just smokes this thing. Hits it up onto the green like 30 feet, 2 putts. Next hole makes birdie. I think he was like 6 back at the turn and won the tournament. First win.
That's awesome. Well,
Okay.
Tim,
Quick.
I tell you what, man, this has been a pleasure. So insightful, so cool of you to do this with us. We really appreciate it, man. And best of luck with Loop. Everybody go book that when you go to Bandon Dunes.
Please, guys. Yeah, dude, thank you so much. It's been fun, man.
You got it.
Yes.
The best.
Support
That
our
was
man
awesome.
Timmy. Thank you, dude. We appreciate it.
Sir, my pleasure.